Welcome to another episode of Follow the Brand. I am your host, Grant McGaw, CEO of 5-Star BDM, a 5-star personal branding and business development company. I want to take you on a journey that takes another deep dive into the world of personal branding and business development using compelling personal story, business conversations, and tips to improve your personal brand. By listening to the Follow the Brand podcast series, you will be able to differentiate yourself from the competition and allow you to build trust with prospective clients and employers. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Make it one that will set you apart, build trust, and reflect who you are. Developing your 5-star personal brand is a great way to demonstrate your skills and knowledge. If you have any questions for me or my guests, please email me at grant.mcgaugh, spelled M-C-G-A-U-G-H, at 5-star BDM, B for brand, D for development, M for masters.com. Now let's begin with our next 5-star episode on Follow the Brand. Welcome to the Follow Brand Podcast. I am your host, Grant McGaugh, CEO of 5-Star BDM, where we help you to build a 5-star brand that people will follow. And today, we aren't just talking about building brands. We are talking about building communities, empowering voices, and making real change. We're diving deep into an issue that strikes at the very heart of our society, bullying. But this isn't just any conversation about bullying. Today, we are talking about a revolutionary shift, how the latest in digital technology is being harnessed to protect our kids, giving them a voice when they need it most. This is about turning fear into courage, isolation into community, and smartphones into lifelines. And joining me for this important discussion is a true trailblazer. Someone who has spent over 30 years in law enforcement and has seen firsthand the devastating impact bullying can have on our children and our communities. Chief Harvette Sears-Smith of the North Miami Beach Police Department isn't just any police chief. She is a visionary leader who's using her badge, her voice, and now cutting-edge technology to fight back against this epidemic. Together, we will explore the creation of the groundbreaking Help4You app, a tool designed to offer real-time support to children facing bullying. We will unpack how this app works and why it's a game changer and how it's transforming the way we think about safety in the digital age. So whether you are a parent, an educator, or just someone who cares about the next generation, this episode is for you. And we are not just discussing problems, we are talking solutions. So let's get started on this journey to make our world a safer place for our children on the Follow Brand Podcast, where we are building a 5-star brand that you can follow. Welcome, everybody, to the Follow Brand Podcast. This is your host, Grant McGaugh, and we are in North Miami Beach. And I'm going to talk to one of the city's finest, and I'm talking about Chief Harvette Sears-Smith, who is here with me. We're going to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart as well as hers. And some people have maybe not aware of some of the work that I have been doing with Building Bridges Communications, which has been phenomenal. I really want to applaud Femi Falani Brown for actually bringing this to the forefront, making it visible in our community around the facts of bullying. I'm talking about our children now being bullied, whether it's cyber bullied or they're having issues within school that maybe they cannot talk to another individual about. And we want to give them some opportunities to be able to communicate what's really going on with them. Chief, would you like to introduce yourself? And let's have a candid conversation around this type of application.
Absolutely. So my name is Harvette Sears-Smith. I am the chief of North Miami Beach Police Department. I've been in law enforcement now for over 30 years. And I understand the importance of the community, what our kids need. I've seen firsthand how bullying can impact the family. So this initiative, this project through Building Bridges Communication, I feel is very important. So that is something that we're geared towards, helping the community, putting things out there that's very helpful. So I'm excited. I'm very excited about this project.
Well, we were excited that you wanted to be one of the brand ambassadors for this initiative and brought it to your attention. Femi first brought it to my attention. And then I worked with my partners over at Agile InfoWays to actually create the actual application in which it gives children a real-time app. A lot of times our children, they have phones, and they can now connect directly to a resource that can help them. In your opinion and your experience, why do you feel that this type of application is so important for today's school children?
So a lot of time kids are a little scared to really explain to an adult on what they're experiencing when it comes to bullying or abuse or being harassed, because it just puts them in a different space. And this app is really going to give them the opportunity in a confidential setting to explain or to tell someone what is going on with them. And it's good that they're reaching out because they want the help. And I think by having this app and giving them the tools and connecting them with an expert immediately can be beneficial and help the child and their family. A lot of times parents have no idea what kids are facing while they're at school or, on the playground or through social media. So this app will definitely help them. And once we get the awareness out there that it is available, I think it will prove beneficial.
I like that. Now I want to just pick your brain a little bit or just go back in some history.
Okay.
As in your experience, because, right now the app does not exist. But as you go back and certain things that have happened during your career that it may have had a different outcome if people were aware of the situation. Can you share with us any stories that might be beneficial to our audience?
Absolutely. So there have been that I'm aware of. We've seen how this impacts kids mainly in school settings where they're being bullied. I've been on a couple of calls or scenes where kids may have tried to harm themselves because of what they're experiencing. And I think just that, like you said, if this app would have been available back then, it would have been different for the kid, or it would have been different for the parent. It may have brought awareness to the parent because remember, in order for the kids to even access this app, we have to have the consent from the parent for them to even be a part of it. So I think once, parents, teachers, and counselors see that this is available, it is something that they're going to want to definitely be a part of because it's going to improve the community. Because bullying actually has a negative impact on the community, and it promotes crime.
I believe that. And I think about it automatically, my attention goes to some of the really bad things that have happened in our schools. And you think about some of the children that were involved, many school shootings, right?
Yes.
And the pattern seems that, unfortunately, the child might have felt isolated. They're by themselves. They are experiencing certain things, but they're not reaching out, or maybe someone else is seeing another child going through periods of bullying, and they don't feel like, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to get involved, wherever it might be. And vice versa, where the child is sitting there and they don't know who they can reach out to, or maybe they're even thinking about reaching out to anybody. But if they were aware that there is a resource, because I know if like, hey, if I'm afraid, let's just go into just I would say happens almost every day. Kids being bullied, they're being threatened, as far as being beat up after school, let's just say for whatever reason, and they don't know who to contact. Now you'll be able to, click a button, get to potentially a resource that then can then get you in touch with a police resource or a law enforcement resource. If you were taking that call and in your department, how would you be able to mitigate that kind of circumstance?
I mean, first of all, I know you said click a button and to get that immediate response, but I think we have to make that person, whether it's a child, a teenager, we have to make them feel comfortable enough to reach out and get that help. A lot of kids don't feel comfortable and, they're so withdrawn and, wanting to just deal with the problem. A lot of times they take matters into their own hands and it may be the wrong approach. And that's where we get the school shootings and so forth. So we've seen time after time where we've had the school shootings and the subjects are or were bullied in the past. So by having this app, promoting it, providing the training, letting the kids know that, that it's a comfortable and safe environment, I think the outcomes would have been different. And just taking the call in my capacity and seeing that, a child is, in this scenario, that's one of the things I would do. I would make them feel comfortable, let them know that we're here to help. You're not in this alone. There is an out. That's exactly what I would explain to them.
Oh, they're out. That feels good. I know that it's reassuring when there's an alternative. And one of the things that the app has is not just talking and research, it has information.
Yes.
Right. So you can see different videos that will inform you of different scenarios, even small K through fifth grade children, right? That they can say, oh, wow, or this is something I could see someone else that might be experiencing something. And now I feel an affinity to that. Someone understands, and because they have an understanding, I know I can then, begin to have a conversation around this. So there's a lot of tools that are available, not just the emergency type situation. There's all kinds of different things. Now, here's my question to you. Why did you feel that this is something you wanted to take on and get involved with?
For me, as a law enforcement leader and being in the city of North Miami Beach for over 30 years, community is top priority. So when you identify the needs of a community, and with bullying being one of them, it was easy for me to say, oh, yeah, I want to be a part of that. I want to make a difference in the community. I want to be able to promote something that's positive, that's going to bring a positive outcome. So just being a part of this is, just rewarding enough for me. If I can just help one kid, save one kid, that's enough for me.
You said a lot there, and I want your counterparts throughout Miami-Dade County, Broward County, and hopefully across the nation to chime in. We've got to help our kids, and we got to find ways that we can do this, understanding that the time in which we grew up is different. Social media is huge here, and kids have access to devices, their cell phones, their tablets, desktops, and whatnot. We use these every day just in teaching them. So we can't just say, hey, give me your cell phone, do this, do that, and then that doesn't happen. No, there's got to be other ways that we can help in terms of alternatives, especially, and I've seen it, they had hearings in Congress about cyberbullying and these type of things. So I'm hoping that this kind of application will help. For you, what is your siren call to your counterparts? You're like, hey, Chief Harvette, I'm interested in possibly helping. What would you say to them?
So I want to go back and touch on something you said in the beginning, because our kids are now coming up in a different time from when we were in school and how bullying took place. So bullying can happen in school, but it doesn't stop, because we have the social media, we have computers, we have cell phones and laptops, and that cyberbullying continue on throughout the day. So it has a lasting effect on the child. So one of the things I would say to my counterparts in law enforcement is to let them know that, look, this is a tool that is going to be used to help save our children. We want it to be where it's something that's supported throughout, not just for, a year or so, but continuously, because we know bullying has been around for years, and it's just gotten worse with the use of technology. So I would basically tell them, we need your support. We need you to also hit the ground running, introducing this tool to our school kids, to communities, to local advocacy groups. We need to put the word out there that this is something positive that's going to save our children.
I like that. And that's the thing, when we talk about community, our kids are involved in all levels of our community. You're part of a lot of different associations in which you can interact and get involved. And I want the children, this is a thing, right? It is a thing that a lot of times our children and a lot of people, they're afraid of the law enforcement. They're afraid of the police, like, wow. Yeah. And because of that, there's that gap in communication and understanding. Are you here to help, or are you here to hurt? And I'm glad you're getting out in front of this and saying, I am here to help. This is how we help. We are, that is the charge of the law enforcement agencies, is to be a vehicle for helping our communities to move forward. So we don't want to be looked at. But I don't see a lot of your counterparts doing what you're doing now, having conversations when you're not in an intense situation. They're just having a conversation about who you are and what you do. Give us some more information about how you can fill that gap to let us feel more comfortable about working with law enforcement. Ready to elevate your brand with 5-star impact? Welcome to the Firebrand Podcast, your gateway to exceptional personal growth and innovative business strategies. Join me as I unveil the insider strategies of industry pioneers and branding experts. Discover how to supercharge your business development, harness the power of AI for growth, and sculpt a personal brand that stands out in the crowd. Transform ambition into achievement. Explore more at firestarbdm.com for a wealth of resources. Ignite your journey with our Brave Brand Blueprint and begin crafting your standout 5-star future today.
So one of the things that's constantly evolving is community policing. So community policing is bridging that gap between community and law enforcement. And we want it to be where it's a partnership. So we're going to help you police your community, but we're going to also allow you to help the police. So a lot of times within community policing are groups for our youth. And one of them that comes to mind immediately, because I've been involved with it for so long, is our Police Athletic League. And that is where we mentor our kids. We put on different programs for them. We build those relationships and show them that, it's okay to come to a police officer. It's okay to sit down and have a conversation with us. And that's one of the things Police Athletic League is, that we are filling playgrounds and not prisons. So we want to be able to have those conversations, relationships, mentor our kids, to let them know that it is. It's a positive relationship. It's not where we're always, out to see the wrong in an individual. So
I'm so glad you said that. And it reminds me of my own childhood. Me and my brother, and I'm from the Midwest, right? Mm-hmm. And my mother, I remember my mother coming, hey, I'm going to enroll you in summer police camp. We're like, summer police camp? And at the time, she had a friend that was a police officer, and we liked him. His name was Jimmy. Like, oh, Jimmy was pretty cool. I said, hey, we're all going to go to camp. And it was police camp. And we went out, into the rural community, and we had these cabins, and we were there with kids from all over the city. There's probably 40 or 50 of us or whatnot. And they had swimming pools. They had all kinds of stuff. We were involved with all these activities. But these were the police officers that were in the community. Now, we're at the time, I was 8. 10 years old. And I remember that. And we would spend a whole week out there. And we went like a couple of years in a row. Mm-hmm. And it made me feel like I was not afraid of the police. Amount of times I would see them in their cars and they're like, hey, we waving at them. We knew what they did. So I didn't have that feeling of the police were my enemy. They're actually, friends in the community. But I don't know if those programs exist. And you just brought some of those programs up. And I really, really like that. I enjoy that. Hopefully there's more of that going on.
Absolutely. And I can tell you, at the end of the day, we're human. I mean, we have families, we have kids, and if we can just foster those positive relationships and let kids know that it's okay to say, hi to a police officer when you see them out in the street. One of the things I hate is when a parent see a police officer and they tell the kid, oh, if you continue to be bad, I'm going to call the police. I immediately tell them, no, it's okay. You can come, you can talk to the police. You can say hi to me. Because we don't want it to be where a child is afraid of a police officer. So by your mom putting you all in those camps and us continue to create these programs where we have positive relationships with the kids in the community, it's just proving that we are fostering and building a better future for all.
I agree with that. And this app, Help4You, so cool.
Yes,
you can see how you can introduce something like that. So if you're at a camp or you're one of your police athletics camps and that type of thing, you're introducing this kind of program, they're going to then feel good about it. It's not being forced on them. Like, hey, if you're going through situations, here's an app. You can download it. Make sure your parents are aware. You take them through that whole scenario because you're in a positive environment. Right. And then you're like, I'm calling a friend to help, not, another problem that's going to come to my door because of this. Or, people here's the deal. People are, oh, that's snitching. I don't want to be a snitch type of thing. How do you work with those types of attitudes?
And I can tell you, just working with the kids that's in our police athletic league, you hear them saying that, and we have to kind of immediately address it when we hear kids say, oh, stop snitching, stop doing this. We have to let them know the importance of knowing what's wrong and what's right and being able to articulate it to a police officer or someone who can help them with the situation. So with the Help4You app, just like you said, there's resources on there. You can text. You don't have to actually speak to someone over the phone because we want it to be a comfortable environment. It's like creating that safe space, and I think when you mentioned getting my counterparts to get on board and providing that financial assistance, is creating a safe environment and creating a safe space for these kids who feel, the need to be able to come to.
I want to ask you this, because now there is a resource officer in a lot of the schools now. So you have scenarios. You have a resource officer, you have the school administration, and then potentially, scenario, you may have police involvement in a scenario. How do you feel that if with and without this app, those situations could be better or worse?
I think without the app, the situations could be worse. Absolutely. And like you said, in every school in Miami-Dade County, there is a school resource officer. And one of the jobs of that officer is, to provide the security to the school, but to also be able to interact with those kids to where it can mitigate some of those issues with harassing, bullying, because the presence of the officer is there. So we want to make sure that even with the presence of this app, that can help within a school environment for the kids that are there, because they know that they can immediately just go to that app and get assistance as well.
Okay, this is good. I like this and I want everyone to know that this was done through a grant through the Carrie Meek Foundation, also through Miami-Dade County, in which they work with a lot of different enterprises to help to have social impact, to help our children. And this was the app that was created by ThoughtSwitch, which is a Building Bridges Communications subsidiary, or vice versa. I believe it's ThoughtSwitch, then Building Bridges is the subsidiary of that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And they developed the Help4You app. I want everyone to know that because this was just the pilot that's been created. We still need funding. We still need stakeholders, people that need to be involved so this can grow. It can be a county-wide application for our children, and then you'd see it growing even into a national platform. Help us understand why funding is so important.
Funding is very important because we want to make sure that the Help4You mission is worldwide. It's almost kind of like the Sandy Hook Initiative project. So we want that to be available for Miami-Dade County. We know the Meek Foundation is built off of revitalizing communities. So this app will actually help with, like we said, reporting abuse, reporting bullying, reporting harassment, reporting other criminal type activities. And by doing so, that actually fosters better communities. So it's going to help with violence, reducing violence. So the Meek Foundation and Miami-Dade County, they're reprised on doing that, creating better communities. So if we have this app and we can use it to bridge the gap between communities and law enforcement, it's going to prove that this is something that was needed far too long, because we want it to be where people feel comfortable living in their communities. So I think that this is something that's very positive.
I know it is very positive, and we need to get our community on board. Those of us who are interested, I want them to reach out and talk to us and find out how they can find out more, how they can get involved, what it takes to get involved so we can get this rolled out and truly help our children. Before I let you go, I want to give the mic to you and think through what we have not discussed. And that is still, it's important because, and I want you to think through you as a chief of police, and now that this app is available, and how you feel like, wow, this is something that can actually make a difference. Give us your feedback overall on how you feel.
So let me just start out by saying, with this app, and like I said, we can't do this alone. So we do need our law enforcement partners. We need our government entities. We need our stakeholders. We need our local business owners. We need our local advocacy groups. We need to put out there that there is a zero tolerance for bullying. The policy needs to be just that. So if we go out there and we promote it, we show that we're bringing awareness to teachers, to children, to parents, that this is going to be something that's going to help with kids and them feeling that, oh, I don't have a way out, and how it really impacts them emotionally. It lacks mindfulness for them. So I think having those organizations on board, providing that financial support, being a part of that zero tolerance policy, I think that that's something that we need to hit the ground running. Because it's going to show that we are involving in technology within our communities of Miami-Dade County. And I think the Meek Foundation realized that this was something that was needed, which is why they provided the initial support. So we want to continue with that support because we know sometimes individuals that may be in crisis or maybe in some type of situation where they feel that there's no help, no way out, we want to let them know that we're there for you. And this app is going to do just for that. So a lot of it has to do with communication, getting it out there, explaining the vision clearly on what this organization is for, what this app is for. So I think just providing that empowerment to kids and adults to let them know that we're not going to tolerate bullying. We're not going to tolerate kids being harassed. They are our future. We need them to thrive, and we're going to do our best to help them with that.
I love that. That is called walking the walk, not talking the talk. You are all about that. I believe as our community becomes more and more aware of what you're doing and why you're doing it, that we're going to get a lot of people on board, because this is something that we truly, truly need. And we have to put our arms around our community, show that we care. And we care by communicating with them. This is a great way to communicate. And before I let you go, you got to let us know how to contact you. People are like, oh, how do I get involved? How do I contact you? What do I do? Help us.
So basically, it's falling under the Building Bridges Communications. As I told you, I am Chief Harvette Smith. I can be reached through Building Bridges Communication. I don't have an email yet, do I? I don't. Okay. So once we do have that information, we will be able to put it out on all of our social media platforms. We are on Facebook. We're on Instagram, so we can be reached through that.
This has been wonderful, and we've got to get an opportunity to get in touch with you. What is the best possible way?
So we can be reached through Building Bridges Communication, basically just going through thoughtswitchmiami.com and subscribing. And then you can also reach me on my LinkedIn account at Chief Harvette Smith.
That is so wonderful. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much for being on the show. And also everyone that tunes into our show, and your entire audience can reach all the different episodes on Follow Brand at 5-Star BDM. That is B for brand, D for development, infomasters.com. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Grant. Thank you for the opportunity, and we will do great things with this app.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us on the Follow Brand Podcast. Big thanks to Full Effect Productions for their incredible support on each and every episode. Now the journey continues on our YouTube channel, Follow Brand TV series. Dive into exclusive interviews, extended content, and bonus insights that will fuel your success. Subscribe now and be a part of our growing community, sharing and learning together. Explore, engage, and elevate at Follow Brand TV series on YouTube. Stay connected, stay inspired. Till next time, we will continue building a 5-star brand that you can follow.